ymca.gov.
Okay, Dr. Michael Kelly, National Program Director for Oncology, U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. We appreciate your time this morning, Doctor. Thanks so very much.
Thank you for having me.
Get ready to splash into summer at the YMCA. With 2 great options to join the Y, there's something for everyone. Choose a summer splash pass and enjoy the outdoor pools and splash pads now through September. Or take 20% off regular monthly memberships and keep saving for life. And you get all the great benefits of the YMCA with family and individual membership options. Visit the website at ymcamemphis.org for full details and to join today.
Thanks for joining us here on ActionNews5.com, as well as all of our digital platforms here on a Thursday. A mixture of more sunshine than not here today, though a few of the few clouds that we do get today could have a straight downpour associated with them. Highs will top out in the middle 80s. Winds will come out of the north and east at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Oddly enough, we actually have a frontal system that will move through the area. We'll talk about that here shortly. Thursday night, the overnight low temperature down into the lower 60s. Some of the suburbs and the outlying areas outside of Memphis will drop into the 50s to start off on your Friday morning. Small opportunity that we could still see a rogue shower here or there. It's all dry and clear here across the Mid-South. We do have a few clouds that have bubbled up here within the last little bit back over in eastern Arkansas and northwest portions of Tennessee up towards Lake and Obion counties this morning. Those are drifting down towards the south. That's actually the frontal system moving in our direction. Notice the general trend here. There's your front that will be sweeping through Memphis and the Mid-South here in the next couple of hours. That may kick up a rogue shower or two. That will also help to kick up the winds, but that's also helping us out a bit. That will keep us with high pressure in control of the weather pattern that will eventually keep this system from heading in our direction and actually keeping most of that weather at bay from coming all the way in our direction. That is an area of low pressure, non-tropical low that's going to have some big impacts for the Carolinas as well as Georgia and Florida heading through the upcoming weekend. Some spots in the Carolinas, 5+ inches of rainfall from Wilmington up through the Outer Banks. So something to be cognizant of if you have plans for the Memorial Day holiday weekend heading in that direction. Now, we will see a little backwash of that. How does that play out for us? Well, a little disturbance will get spawned off from that area of low pressure by the time we head towards your Saturday. This is Futurecast looking ahead to Saturday afternoon. That may kick up a shower or thunderstorm. Looks like the higher potential of that will tend to be south of I-40. But again, you can't rule it out that we could see a rogue shower or thunderstorm by Saturday afternoon and evening, even here in the Memphis area in Shelby County. But in the general sense, most spots will likely stay dry. The further north that you go up towards Jonesboro, up towards Mark Tree, Blytheville, Osceola, we're talking about weather probably about 10 to 20% opportunity of a rain, shower, or storm. Most spots, like they say, dry for the upcoming weekend. And any storms that we do get will probably fade away pretty quickly by sunset. The weather's pretty quiet for us going into Sunday as well. Morning 60s will trend back to the lower 80s with mostly to partly sunny skies for Sunday afternoon. Now, the weather in general beyond this looks to be great for us across the board. If you're heading out to the Bluff City Fair today, gates open 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 85 degrees, dropping back to the lower 70s and looking great for the Great American River Run. That happens this upcoming weekend. Small chance of a rogue shower, but really and truly put those rain chances near zero heading through Saturday morning. Temperatures at 62 degrees on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. up to near 70 by 9 with a light westerly wind. We'll get a spike in humidity with that disturbance moving through the area on Saturday, then a gradual warming trend and a gradual muggier trend coming back into the area as we head towards next week. That will push our numbers up fairly deep into the upper 80s and near 90 degrees as we approach the end of May, heading to the beginning of June. Yes, a fairly toasty situation as we head towards the end of next week. So get prepared for it. In the meantime, we'll enjoy some low humidity. We'll enjoy a lot of sunshine and just opportunities for a few hit and miss showers and storms from time to time.
No one deserves to live like this. When it's time for a plumber, you deserve the best. Best Care Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
All right, well, graduation season is upon us, and whether it's high school graduation and maybe wanting to further your education or enter the workforce, or college graduates accepting a new job, financial decisions can be so stressful, and just trying to navigate through that can be very difficult. So joining us to talk a little bit more about it is Ashley Feinstein-Gerstley. She's the author of Financial Adulting, Everything You Need to Know to Be a Financially Confident and Conscious Adult. Ashley, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
So I guess the first thing I want to do is just dive right in. Let's talk about maybe what are some of the biggest mistakes or things that these young adults, whether it's 18 into your early 20s, where maybe they're making mistakes financially. What would you say is probably some of the biggest problems or things that they just don't know about?
Yes, I'd say two big things. The first, and I did both of these things, so it's coming from experience, is to wait to save until we have enough money to save. So there's this idea, and how we traditionally view saving is we earn money, we live our lives, we pay everybody else, and then we hope and wait that there will be money left over to save. And in my experience, that just doesn't work for most people. Even when we get a raise, there's still not money. So I would say pay ourselves first, pay yourself first is something that I would highly, highly recommend. And then the other is not having a plan. And I know that budgets get a bad rap. We think they might be restricting, they might limit our fun, but I view them as an act of self-love, because when we have a budget, we have a plan, we have peace of mind, we can build in things that are fun and have no guilt as we spend them, and just have clarity about where our money is going and reach our financial goals. So I would say not having a plan and waiting to save until we make more money are the two biggest mistakes that I see.
And when you talk about saving, is there a certain rule of thumb when you say you want to maybe save back this percentage of the money you're bringing in, or does it just depend on each individual's budget and what kind of money they're bringing in? What advice would you have for that?
Yes, so I would say it does depend. I am not a big fan of having a certain percentage as far as saving and investing and retirement, but I would say first and foremost, you want to have that crisis fund saved up. So that first $1,000, that first 1 month of expenses, and then from there building up to have a fully funded rainy day fund. So in case something happens with an illness or with our job, that we have money to pay for our expenses for 3 months, 6 months, depending on your personal situation.
And this is just a question for me, because I think way back, back in the day, a lot of people would have their checkbook, and they would go in, and every time they would write a check, they would go in, they'd balance their checkbook. They had an idea of the money that was coming in, coming out. Do you feel like that now people really aren't using that checkbook, and it's harder to maybe keep up with the money you're spending? Do you feel like that?
Yeah, I think technology has done some great things, but it makes it very easy to have no idea where our money is going. Even if you think about checkbooks are a great example, credit cards, we don't feel the pain of what we spent until the bill goes through, swiping our credit card, hopping in and out of a Lyft, we're not even really paying. So I think I'm a huge fan of having what I call money parties, which are time that we set aside to look at what's happened with our money over the last month or the last week. So actually go through and look at those expenses, because it is so easy to lose track of them. And I've had that experience where you see the credit card bill and you say, that wasn't me, but then you go through each and every expense and you realize, these things just add up. So having that time, if we don't look at our expenses, it's just not going to happen. And we need to carve out that time for ourselves.
Do you feel like that generation, you just get out of high school or you're coming out of college, that little group right there, a lot of times they're finally getting out of the house, they're starting to support themselves. Do you think that some of the biggest mistakes start off with credit cards, and maybe every time you go to a store and they say, well, you get 20% off if you apply for a credit card? Do you feel like that this generation can sometimes fall victim to that when it comes to credit cards? What are some of the biggest mistakes?
Yes. So I actually was one of the people who had that happen to me, and I didn't even understand how credit cards worked. I remember by the time I paid my bill, I had so many late fees. And so I do think there's this idea that it actually is something that I wish I knew when I graduated from school, that most people, we don't learn about this. And I'm seeing it more and more being taught in schools, which is wonderful. And I know parents want to be sharing this information with their kids, but they might not feel like they're equipped to do so. And so I do think there's this feeling when we graduate that we're the only ones who don't understand, and there can feel this like taboo of talking about it and asking questions. And what I've found is that most of us don't understand, and we're all learning as we go, and we're learning the hard way. And so I do think that that helps to feel less alone as we navigate this. But then also, yes, to really, I think there's a lot working against us when it comes to personal finance, and that we're not educated about it. There's like with the credit card, there's probably 50 pages of small print that I could have read to understand it. So I would definitely caution to really understand any financial products that we sign up for. Talk to people about it, because if they don't understand and you don't understand, you might be able to find someone else, or to go and figure it out together can feel less lonely as we navigate this.
I remember when I was in college, starting in college, credit card companies, they actually would set up booths on campus, and you would end up getting a credit card, and it would have this incredibly high interest rate, but you weren't educated on what to even look for, what to consider. So, I mean, I can see how credit cards can really get people into trouble. I do want to switch gears, though. Student loans. When a lot of people rely on student loans to be able to go to school, what kind of advice would you give when people start looking to see how much they need to be borrowing? Because they do have to pay that back at some point.
Yes, so when we're going to, there's actually a chapter in the book dedicated to debt. So understanding credit cards, understanding student loans, and I think when we think about financing college, there are a lot of pieces that fund the pie. So there could be grants, there could be financial aid, there could be federal loans, there could be private loans. But at the beginning, when we're trying to figure out how much to take out, ideally we can minimize that pie. And in interviewing some experts on student loans for the book, I found that people actually can negotiate with their universities on what they're able to help them provide. In the worst case, that they say no, but then you're able to take out less debt, and then also to shop around with those private loans, just because we might think that that first offer we get is the best offer that we're going to get, but actually the offers can vary as far as interest rates. And when we're talking about numbers that are that big, it can make a huge difference if we're paying a 6% interest rate or an 8% interest rate or a 4% interest rate on our student loan. So I would say try to reduce the amount as much as possible, and then shop around for the best rate on those private loans.
Good advice. Now, for those that are maybe graduating college, they're getting into the workforce, what are the biggest pieces of advice that you would want to send to them as far as their finances go?
I'd say the biggest, so first, again, just you're not alone in figuring this out, and financial adulting, so that is the name of my new book. Being a financial adult is about taking small, consistent steps. And so I think sometimes with a lot of different goals, but specifically our finances, we view improving in that area that it has to be this overnight transformation, that I wake up, I spend the whole weekend making my financial plan, and I'm a new person. But that sets us up for failure because it's too much of a jump. And so taking small, consistent steps that are manageable, that feel like we can keep improving, I think is the way to go, because then we're improving and learning all year round. And then something that I wished that I did more of, and I know that so many looking back at the beginning of their careers wish they did, is start saving for retirement, because when we're starting young, we have so much time to allow our money to grow and compound, and it just makes it so much easier on us later. And that money is coming out pre-tax, typically, when it's a 401k, so it actually feels less painful than you'd expect. So I'd say, looking back, that's something that a lot of people that I talk to wish they put more aside for retirement and let it grow for them.
And we've talked so much here at the Digital Desk about debt and what debt can do as far as your mental health and various other things that it can do. Do you feel, I love the name of the financial adulting. I love that. But do you feel like that one reason you decided to put this book together is because a lot of times people build up that debt while they're young, and then after they get out of college, they've built up all this debt as they're starting their new job. Do you feel like a lot of that debt ends up getting built up early on in life, and then you're just spending time trying to pay it back?
Definitely is a big part of stress in the younger generation, and something you mentioned about the booths during college and getting a free t-shirt and having, understanding that when we're paying that minimum payment, it isn't actually potentially making any dent in the balance, and our credit card could still be growing. So there's so much there, and I do think there's so much shame. First of all, there's a lot of stress around debt, especially when we're starting our careers and we might not have a lot of extra income to go towards those debt payments, but then also just the shame that comes with debt. And so I first love to talk, in the book, I talk about what debt is, and it's really just money we owe for something we bought. It doesn't mean we're bad or that we did something wrong, or it could be a certain time in our life, it could be a mistake we made. But from there, really, I think sometimes when we have so much shame around the debt, it has us even not look at it. So I take everyone through a 3-step process to make a plan to manage and pay down debt by starting with looking at what it actually is. And that can be as stressful as that sounds to list out all that information. It can be really eye-opening. And then once we know what's happening, we can make a plan to manage it. So always better to have that information than to not look.
And educating yourself about what you need to know is so important. And you were mentioning about paying that minimum. I had a friend that during that age time between 18, early 20s, she got a bunch of credit cards and she told me, she's like, just pay the minimum payment. And I'm like, this is terrible advice. I guess any final points you want to make before we let you go?
I go back to that taking small, consistent steps. And you mentioned earlier why I wrote this book. And because so many of the things that you're mentioning are things that I made mistakes with. And I studied finance, I worked in finance, and I still knew nothing about my own finances. And so this is something that we are not set up for. So we want to learn as much as we can. And my goal is in writing this book and in the work I do that others don't have to make the same mistakes that I did and can progress through their financial lives with a lot less stress and potentially heartache.
Well, Ashley Feinstein-Gerstley, the author of Financial Adulting, Everything You Need to Know to Be a Financially Confident and Conscious Adult. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing some really great advice and some really good tips for our viewers this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Cutting out cable doesn't mean you have to cut out local news. Action News 5 makes it easy to keep up with what's happening in the 901 through Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can watch breaking news and weather from anywhere we go live, like and comment on the stories that matter to you, and share your ideas directly with us. So tap in using your phone, tablet, or computer, making it easy to stay in the know in the 901. We're taking action for you. WMC Action News 5. Find us wherever you scroll.
Hi, I'm Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies, and I am officially vaccinated. I cannot wait to get back to spending time with my family and friends. I think people should do their research and make sure they get informed on the vaccine, and I definitely did that. I definitely looked up side effects, everything that I could find out, and I felt like it was still in my best interest to get the vaccine as well for anybody, really. So I'm encouraging everybody to do that.
All right, let's talk about the fraud alert that is currently an issue here across the country. From crypto to cash apps, AARP Fraud Watch Network is revealing the latest fraud tactics right here, right now, because they are going on attack. Scammers are constantly looking for their next victim, and we want to do a deep dive on all this with Kathy Stokes. She's the director of fraud prevention programs at AARP. I'm so glad she's back with us on the Action News 5 digital desk. Kathy, good morning. Nice to have you again. Let's talk about this latest scam and maybe the big problems with these scams in the U.S. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so glad that we're talking about this today. It's really important to spread the word.
I agree. So what is the surefire way? Because I know there's several different ways to really kind of know something is a scam. What is a surefire way that we can tell people, hey, watch out for this? It's an immediate red flag that this is a scam.
Yeah, there is an immediate red flag, and I hope what I'm saying is actually something that will work. We got to try something, right? We know that the criminals use our emotions against us. They know that this is the way our brain works, that if we're in a heightened emotional state, then we're more likely to believe anything they're telling us. So when you get that communication out of the blue that makes you panic or makes you very afraid or maybe really excited because you just won a lot of money, understand that that is the tactic among criminals and don't engage to begin with.
Exactly. And we know that a lot of people like to dabble in cryptocurrency, but for some reason, cryptocurrency is involved in a lot of scams too. Tell me more.
Well, there's a lot going on in the crypto space. None of us really know a ton about it, and the criminals will take advantage of that. One thing we're seeing is crypto ATM machines popping up everywhere. I mean, just pull your map up and put crypto ATM machine and you'll see it. And the criminals are able to convince people that to pay for whatever problem that they need to address right away, go to the bank, take out cash, go to the crypto ATM machine, put that cash in the machine, send it to a wallet via a QR code, and that money's gone. And they're also doing investment schemes, trying to get people to believe that they've made a ton of money themselves and they can teach them how, but it's all completely fraudulent, and the money invested and the money that you think you're getting in returns is not real.
You know, I've heard, Kathy, several times about gift cards and Venmo and Cash App and other different money apps that are used for fraud. Tell me some good red flags that people can watch out for when it comes to that, because it seems like Venmo is used so frequently these days.
Well, you know, and it's really out there as a convenience for, you know, sharing costs among friends or family. And when it's used in another way, if someone is convincing you that there's a big financial problem you have to address right away, and to send that money by a peer-to-peer payment app, it's a scam. Same stands if they say that the best way to get that money right away to solve the problem is to buy a gift card and share the number off the back. Good news on that, 75% of people in our survey know that that's a scam, but we still saw $250 million in reported losses to gift card fraud last year.
Wow, that's a lot. It's extraordinary, and I hate to hear it. Why don't people report more scams? Are they just embarrassed?
Yeah, and you know, it's our tendency to blame victims, and so they blame themselves. And especially if you're an older adult, and older adults are far more likely to lose a lot of money to the fraud, even though younger people experience it more often. But they may be afraid that their adult kids will think there's something wrong, that they're not able cognitively to deal with their finances anymore, and that couldn't be any further from the truth. But that fear will stop people from reporting.
What else can we talk about, Kathy, to warn people out there with regards to this? Because as you've been saying, fraud is such an issue right now. It's so prevalent, especially with the demo that AARP serves.
We need to understand that fraud is a crime, that the crime itself is highly sophisticated these days, that it's largely the space of transnational criminal enterprises. And so it's us as an individual against that. Understand it is not that victim's fault. They didn't miss something. This is just something that the criminals do that they're really good at. We have to start understanding it for the crime it is, treat victims with empathy, convince them to report to the police because it is a crime and they do want a record of that. And we just need to change this narrative. It is not the fraud victim's fault.
Is there a place where people can go online, get some more information about all this fraud and various scams out there?
Yeah, you can go to aarp.org/fraudwatchnetwork. While you're there, you can sign up for biweekly alerts from us that just keep you mindful that fraud is happening. It'll tell you about what the new schemes are, and then share that. The more we talk about fraud, the less likely we are to engage in the fraud attempts.
Okay, Kathy Stokes, Director of Fraud Prevention Programs at AARP. Always a great conversation. Always great to have you on the digital desk. Thanks very much.
Great to be here again. Thank you.
Here's a life hack. While you're physically at work, you can be mentally somewhere else entirely. So grab a refreshing summer edition Red Bull slush and imagine you're at the pool, or literally anywhere else but at work. Sonic Red Bull Summer Edition Slush. Sonic.
Get ready to splash into summer at the YMCA. With 2 great options to join the Y, there's something for everyone. Choose a summer splash pass and enjoy the outdoor pools and splash pads now through September. Or take 20% off regular monthly memberships and keep saving for life. And you get all the great benefits of the YMCA with family and individual membership options. Visit the website at ymcamemphis.org for full details and to join today.
Imagine a place where a cool summer breeze blows and burgers have that smoky char-grilled flavor. And also the breeze is your car's air conditioner because you're eating at Sonic. New Sonic Griller. Sonic.
Okay, Andrew Douglas back here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Memorial Day weekend. We know it as the unofficial start of the summer season. Many Americans are going to be grilling out. They're going to be packing up trips, camping, beach day events. I mean, all kinds of things. And, you know, preparing food for the weekend, that can get a little tricky. We certainly know that. We're going to be eating outdoors. Many of us are. Let's bring in Meredith Carruthers. She is with the USDA Food Safety Regulation Service Specialist, and she's going to help us when it comes to tips and tricks on all that great outdoor eating. Meredith, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me to talk about an important topic.
Yes, it's certainly important. We don't want to get anyone sick out there if you're having a party, maybe around the pool or outside. And what are some good, if you had to give like maybe just some headlines, you know, bullet points for people, what would be the best 3 bullet points when you're serving food outside?
So first things first is to pay attention to the temperature outside. If it is going to be more than 90 degrees, you have to keep your food safe or, you know, out of the temperature for no more. You can't keep them out for no more than 1 hour. If it's under 90 degrees, no more than 2 hours. The bacteria will multiply quicker and quicker the hotter that it is outside. So really needing to pay attention to that outside temperature and setting a timer for yourself so you're not leaving your food out for too long. If you're going to be grilling this weekend, you know, doing any kind of grilling before serving food outside, use a food thermometer. The grill will make your food look done way before it actually is. So it's important to use that food thermometer to make sure it's fully cooked to a safe internal temperature. And then lastly, the third thing to keep in mind is wash your hands. If you're able to wash your hands with soap and water, that is going to be the most effective. But if you are at the pool or at a picnic or camping and you don't have access to running water as easily, you can use moist towelettes or hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol.
You know, I see on this list here 4 safety tips when it comes to outdoor eating. Let's see, clean, separate, cook, and chill. Explain that.
Yes, so those are our 4 steps to food safety that are easy to keep top of mind any time of year, but especially this weekend. Clean means starting with clean hands, utensils, and washing them throughout food preparation, like I just mentioned. Separate is keeping your raw meat and poultry products separate from any foods that are ready to eat. So that'll be keeping your, burger patties that you're forming separate from any pasta salad or lettuce and tomato that you're going to be using for your burgers. So none of that harmful bacteria cross-contaminates to each other. Cook is cooking with the food thermometer and cooking to that safe internal temperature, as I mentioned, which is especially important when you're grilling. And then lastly, chill kind of goes into that 2 hour or 1 hour rule that I mentioned at the beginning, where you don't want to leave your foods out at, room temperature or outside for longer than 1 hour if it's above 90, or 2 hours if it's below 90 degrees outside, because bacteria can multiply to dangerous levels. And then getting your foods back in a cooler or in your lunchbox with cold sources, or back into the refrigerator if you're at home, keeping your food nice and cold as much as possible.
Absolutely. I love cooking with a food thermometer outside. That is the best way for me to come up with that picture-perfect meal. Danger zone. Tell me what the danger zone is and how do we avoid it?
So the danger zone is the range of temperatures from 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, where bacteria multiply rapidly. So usually the outside temperature or, your home at room temperature fall within that danger zone. And if bacteria multiply to dangerous or high enough levels, they can get you sick if you eat that food, and your food can become unsafe. So very important to pay attention to the danger zone and pay attention to that 2 hour or 1 hour rule, not leaving your food out for too long, and you'll have nice, safe food to continue to eat for leftovers in the next few days, or, if you're ready to snack a little later on.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Okay, let's talk about cleanliness, because that is something that perhaps is a little underrated when it comes to outdoor grilling. Let's talk about clean before, during, and after when it comes to food prep.
Yes, so of course washing your hands is really important, but it is also important to make sure your utensils, your grill, your outside space is clean as well, especially because you're going to be putting food there. So keeping your grill clean, when right after you used it, but also before you use it, do a quick wipe down with, a paper towel that's wet with some soap, and make sure you get that nice and wiped off, heat it up, scrub off any remaining portions or, food bits that are on there. And then, even considering using some foil if maybe you're on a public grill, not sure about how clean it might be. Those are some good ways to keep your grill nice and clean. And then one big thing that people may not do as often or may not think about that can lead to foodborne illness is not using a clean plate for your cooked food that you're pulling off the grill. Sometimes people use that same plate that they brought the raw food out with, and that is a sure way to cross-contaminate harmful bacteria from your, raw food to your food that you're pulling off the grill and about to eat. So once you take your raw food out, put it on the grill, either take that plate back inside and fully clean it, or get a new clean plate to bring outside to put your cooked food on the grill. Consider that with your utensils as well. Your spatula that you put raw burgers on the grill with has that bacteria on it, won't be safe to use to pull off those nice cooked burgers.
Yeah, that's a good one there. Good friendly reminders. Where can we get all this information online? We have thousands of people watching. They might want to just kind of print out a checklist.
Absolutely. So you can go to foodsafety.gov, and we have some information there specific for summer grilling, camping, etc. Foodsafety.gov. Or if you have any questions and you want to talk to a food safety specialist like myself, you can contact the Meat and Poultry Hotline at 1-888-674-6854. So that's 1-888-MP Hotline. We're open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And we are available to answer any questions, talk you through those situations, help give you tips on, what you might be safe or might not be safe after your cookouts this weekend.
Awesome, Meredith. Thank you so much. Great advice, and we appreciate you joining us on the digital desk. Have a great, Meredith. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. Take care.
Thanks. Stay food safe.
Thanks for joining us here on ActionNews5.com, as well as all of our digital platforms here on a Thursday. A mixture of more sunshine than not here today, though a few of the few clouds that we do get today could have a stray downpour associated with them. Highs will top out in the middle 80s. Winds will come out of the north and east at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Oddly enough, we actually have a frontal system that will move through the area. We'll talk about that here shortly. Thursday night, the overnight low temperature down into the lower 60s. Some of the suburbs and the outlying areas outside of Memphis will drop into the 50s to start off on your Friday morning. Small opportunity that we could still see a rogue shower here or there. It's all dry and clear here across the Mid-South. We do have a few clouds that have bubbled up here within the last little bit back over in eastern Arkansas and northwest portions of Tennessee up towards Lake and Obion counties this morning. Those are drifting down towards the south. That's actually the frontal system moving in our direction. Notice the general trend here. There's your front that will be sweeping through Memphis and the Mid-South here in the next couple of hours. That may kick up a rogue shower or two. That will also help to kick up the winds, but that's also helping us out a bit. That will keep us with high pressure in control of the weather pattern that will eventually keep this system from heading in our direction, and actually keeping most of that weather at bay from coming all the way in our direction. That is an area of low pressure, non-tropical low that's going to have some big impacts for the Carolinas as well as Georgia and Florida heading through the upcoming weekend. Some spots in the Carolinas, 5+ inches of rainfall from Wilmington up through the Outer Banks. So something to be cognizant of if you have plans for the Memorial Day holiday weekend heading in that direction. Now, we will see a little backwash of that. How does that play out for us? Well, a little disturbance will get spawned off from that area of low pressure by the time we head towards your Saturday. This is Futurecast looking ahead to Saturday afternoon. That may kick up a shower or thunderstorm. Looks like the higher potential of that will tend to be south of I-40. But again, you can't rule it out that we could see a rogue shower or thunderstorm by Saturday afternoon and evening, even here in the Memphis area in Shelby County. But in the general sense, most spots will likely stay dry. The further north that you go up towards Jonesboro, up towards Mark Tree, Blytheville, Osceola, we're talking about weather, probably about 10 to 20% opportunity of a rain, shower, or storm. Most spots, like they say, dry for the upcoming weekend. And any storms that we do get will probably fade away pretty quickly by sunset. The weather's pretty quiet for us going into Sunday as well. Morning 60s will trend back to the lower 80s with mostly to partly sunny skies for Sunday afternoon. Now, the weather in general beyond this looks to be great for us across the board. If you're heading out to the Bluff City Fair today, gates open 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 85 degrees, dropping back to the lower 70s, and looking great for the Great American River Run. That happens this upcoming weekend. Small chance of a rogue shower, but really and truly put those rain chances near zero heading through Saturday morning. Temperatures at 62 degrees on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. up to near 70 by 9 with a light westerly wind. We'll get a spike in humidity with that disturbance moving through the area on Saturday, then a gradual warming trend and a gradual muggier trend coming back into the area as we head towards next week. That will push our numbers up fairly deep into the upper 80s and near 90 degrees as we approach the end of May, heading to the beginning of June. Yes, a fairly toasty situation as we head towards the end of next week. So get prepared for it. In the meantime, we'll enjoy some low humidity. We'll enjoy a lot of sunshine and just opportunities for a few hit and miss showers and storms from time to time.
Hey, I'm Brian Reed with Best Care Plumbing, Heating, and Air. And in the dog days of summer, a dirty air conditioner can leave you in the doghouse. Good news, it's tune-up time at Best Care. For $69, we'll keep you out of trouble. Let us wash away the dirt and grime of winter from your air conditioner as part of our 24-point inspection for only $69. And we'll also include a leak check at no charge. Call us today and ask about our early bird special, and we'll perform your tune-up for only $57. And when it comes to your comfort, you deserve the best.
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas in the Action News 5 digital desk. Let's talk about the PACT Act. That's what President Biden signed into law last summer. It's authorized basically one of the largest expansions of VA health care and benefits in U.S. history. Let's talk now about what the PACT Act is with the press secretary of the Department of Veteran Affairs, Terrence Hayes, joining us on the Action News 5 digital desk. Good morning, Terrence. Let's talk exactly what the PACT Act is for our viewers that may not be familiar with it.
Yeah, good morning. The PACT Act is probably the largest significant law that expands health care and benefits to veterans who may have been exposed to burn pits, Agent Orange, and other toxic exposures. As of today, VA has granted more than $1 billion in PACT Act benefits across the country to veterans and survivors. So again, this is important to get this message out to as many veterans and survivors as possible to take advantage of this law.
Let's talk about who can apply for benefits under the PACT Act.
Yeah, this impacts Vietnam War veterans, Gulf War veterans, and post 9/11 veterans like myself, and of course, survivors of those wars as well. So to any of those individuals who may believe that they may have been impacted by toxic exposures or burn pits or Agent Orange, please visit our website at va.gov/PACT. There's 23 new presumptive conditions there. And if you have any of those 23 conditions, or if you're a survivor and your loved one passed away to any of those 23 conditions, stop everything you're doing. Give us a call at 1-800-698-2411 or visit your local veteran service organization like the VFW, DAV, American Legion, and they have accredited service officers accredited by VA to provide you free assistance in applying for your claim today.
I understand August 10th, later this year, just in a few months, is a very important date. Can you tell me about the significance of that date, August 10th, 2023?
That is a significant date. And what that date is a year from when President Biden signed the bill into law. And this impacts veterans and survivors across the country. If you apply for your benefits before August 10th of this year, you have the potential to receive backdated benefits to when the president signed the bill into law. So there is a sense of urgency for all of us to ensure that our veterans and survivors have this information so they can apply for those benefits now and get those backdated benefits from when the president signed the bill into law last year.
What about special health care enrollment period for post 9/11 combat veterans? Tell me what that is.
Yes, there may be some post 9/11 veterans across the country who may have missed the initial opportunity to enroll in VA healthcare. And we have afforded that opportunity, a window open now to October 1st for all post 9/11 veterans who may have missed that opportunity. So to any of those members out there right now who are interested in visiting your local VA medical center to receive care, this is your opportunity. Please visit your local VA medical center, visit the website at va.gov/PACT, or again, give us a phone call at 1-800-698-2411 to find out more ways you can enroll into healthcare now.
Okay, anything else you want to mention with regards to this? You've given out a phone number, you've given out some online information. Anything else, Terrence, you'd like to mention before we let you go?
Yeah, more than 500,000 folks have already applied for PACT Act benefits. And while many people may think that's a low number, or excuse me, a high number, we believe that's a low number. And this bill that has been signed into law could potentially impact 3.5 million men and women and survivors. So it's critical that if any of those individuals have any of those conditions on that website at va.gov/PACT, it's automatically assumed that it's because of your service. Stop everything you're doing. Give us a call. Apply today so we can get those benefits in your hands right now.
Okay, and you got to do it before August 10th, 2023. I appreciate
Well, actually, that's not true. You can do it anytime. It's just to get those backdated benefits by August of this year.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Good deal. Well, listen, for more information, va.gov/PACT. That's PACT. Terrence Hayes, we really appreciate you joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk with this information. Thanks very much.
People need options. You need the option to excel, the chance to get beyond where you are, to refresh your skills and leap into the future. You need the option to be local, the possibility of growth where your roots are, while taking care of you and your loved ones. You need the option of a helping hand, the occasion to talk to someone who can help you take yourself to the next level. Go far, close to home. Northwest Mississippi Community College.
Hi, folks, Bob Burke of the Sunrise Buick GMC truck. Thinking about buying a new or used car or truck? Remember, the selection's better and the savings are bigger at Sunrise. Over 600 new cars and trucks to choose from. Factory rebates up to $1,000 and interest rates low as 2.9. Bad credit? It's okay. At Sunrise, we've got a financing plan for everybody. SunriseMemphis.com. We're saving you money. It's just the way you're doing business. Covington, Pike, Wolcase, and Collierville. We make it fun to buy a car again. Check out the all-new Sunrise Truck Corral. Huge selection of nothing but trucks. All makes, all models, all prices, all trucks, all the time. Thanks to Sunrise.
Okay, Andrew Douglas in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare hosts a Camp Bravehearts. They've been doing this for many, many years. This is such an amazing experience, and it's for children ages 6 to 16 who have experienced a loss or bereavement. And it's been going on for quite a bit of time. I can remember doing stories years ago about it. And all I hear is that people who have attended this camp say that it's helped them so much. Let's bring in the camp director, Mark Smith, now on the digital desk to talk more about this year's camp. Mark, good morning to you. We have thousands of people who watch us here on the digital desk each and every morning. Can you fill them in on exactly what Camp Braveheart is? Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. Thanks for having us on today. Camp Bravehearts is a free 3-day camp for children and teens ages 6 to 16 who have experienced the death of a family member or friend within generally the past 2 years prior to attending camp. It's staffed by a team of trained professionals and volunteers, and we spend those 3 days together learning to deal with their grief. We do that in several ways. One way is simply normalization. Truthfully, no one in society lives very long without being touched by loss of some kind, but as a society, we do a very poor job of acknowledging grief and loss. It's something we tend to keep behind closed doors and try to deal with on our own. We stuff it down and don't acknowledge it at all. So one thing that camp does just right from the start is it normalizes it. Everyone there, even our staff, have been touched by losses. So we normalize that grief. We come together as a group of staff and children and teens, and we acknowledge the grief rather than stuffing it down and pretending it isn't there. And beyond that, we work toward expressing the emotions that comes with grief in healthy ways rather than destructive ways. And we do that through a variety of activities that may speak to a particular teen or child, in ways such as expressive art, expressive music, fun, a group, physical. You know, when you think of a camp, those sorts of camp activities, and sharing memories and stories of our loved ones.
You know, I can't imagine anyone at the ages of 6 to 16 who have lost someone so near and dear to their hearts, perhaps a parent, a brother and sister. It just is devastating for that. And for you guys to organize this kind of camp is so great, making it free and open to anyone. But I know May 26th is when registration closes. So people need to begin registering now for this camp that is from June 21st through the 23rd. Tell me about the coping skills that you guys, you and your staff try to teach at the camp, Mark.
For sure. First is simply acknowledging it. So again, many people are taught that we should pretend our grief isn't there, that simply to go on and be strong. Be strong is something that you hear quite often when it comes to grief. And unfortunately, many people hear be strong and they feel like, well, that means I have to put on a brave face. I have to act as if I'm not feeling all of these things that I am feeling, but I'm supposed to be strong. There's this expectation put on me. And so I can't let anybody see that. I can't let anybody know what I'm feeling inside. So again, from the beginning, just normalizing that what you feel in grief is part of grief. It's okay to feel. It's okay to express it. No, we do want to express in healthy ways. One emotion that people may feel with grief, sometimes we feel angry about the loss. And certainly there are healthy ways to express anger and there are unhealthy and destructive ways to express anger. So we talk about that. We have some examples. One activity that we do every year involves going to the edge of a lake, and we have an emotion that we write. And for different campers, it's different what that emotion is, but a difficult, big emotion they've been holding on to. And we write that onto a rock, and we do a physical activity of throwing that rock into the lake to represent being able to let that out. So for someone who's holding on perhaps to anger, that physical emotion of throwing the rock in a safe place, the lake, instead of at someone, is a healthy way, for example, to let that anger out. And also that physical activity, there's an actual energy release there. We also talk about coping through art, coping through music. Now, not everyone, will that speak to. So we talk about other ways. We have a child life specialist who's a part of our team, and she's going to be doing programming with our age groups about that. We have a music therapist that is coming over from Levanter, who's going to be spending time talking about how music becomes a part of your coping, even if you're not making music yourself, how you can integrate music into your coping. We have other activities that we do that are specifically geared to talking about if you're having big feelings, what are some ways, a menu, if you will, of expressing those and coping with those that acknowledges, lets the feeling come, and lets you process, think through, express in healthy ways, rather than keeping it bottled up inside, rather than turning yourself into a human pressure cooker, if you will, waiting for it to just explode.
We're talking about Camp Bravehearts with the camp director, Mark Smith. Camp Bravehearts, 3-day free camp, June 21st to 23rd, a safe space for emotional healing after the death of a family member for anyone who's 6 to 16. I know it's at For the Kingdom Retreat Center in Northeast Memphis. That's a beautiful campus, and it feels like you're out in the woods when you're actually in the city of Memphis, but it's beautiful, and there's so many great things for the kids to participate in. Tell me what you notice about campers as they participate in various studies and activities there at the camp during Camp Bravehearts.
Well, Andrew, kids are kids, and on day one we see a variety of personalities, just what you'd expect from a group of kids and teens. When we first welcome kids into camp, For the Kingdom has a great facility, and so there's we'll have some different, we'll have volleyballs, basketballs, different things that the kids can do just to kind of, as they acclimate to being on site there. And you'll see some who are open and playful and quickly making friends and being loud like kids and teens do. Some are quiet and reserved and kind of hanging out on the edges, a little more introverted. But pretty early in the day, we have an activity, again, that acknowledges that elephant in the room, that we're all there. We're having fun, and everyone there, even our staff, all of our campers, have had a loss. And we begin to normalize. And as we keep doing activities, some fun, some serious, some physical activities that then we can make connections back to loss and expression and feeling, some that are very focused on different aspects of loss and expression and emotion. You might see common ground between the campers begin to form, just maybe over, you like Pokemon or you like soccer, so do I, and it's friendships that begin to form. Maybe it's, you lost your mom, I lost my mom, and common ground begins to form. Friendships begin to form. Campers begin to find that it's okay and it's safe to share because everybody here has had a loss, and nobody's going to judge me for what I feel in this place. So over the time together, then we begin to see some victories. Maybe it's a small victory where just someone who's been quiet through several sessions realizes that it's safe to share, and maybe they speak up and they share something that's on their mind. Maybe it's a larger victory. Maybe it's somebody who's really nervous, maybe about one of the physical activities. There's a climbing wall activity, and maybe somebody who's nervous about that, they take a small step. Maybe it's just they walk up to the wall and they literally take one step up off the ground, and that's the victory. And that's a huge victory because their friends that they've been with in their group are cheering them on and supporting them, not in a judgmental way, but just, hey, you can do this. We're here with you, which also is parallel to grief. Hey, we're in this together. We're here with you. So sometimes we also see big victories in the emotional front, like, hey, I've never really shared how I felt before. Now I feel like I can. And not just here at camp. Maybe I can go back and tell other friends or my family how I feel. These are the changes that we can see over our time together.
That's fantastic. I really appreciate everything you and your staff does for this camp and for so many Memphians and families out there that are going through such a devastating loss. Where can people sign up? Where can they get more information about Camp Bravehearts? And is there anything else you want to mention before we let you go?
They can go to methodisthealth.org/Camp Bravehearts. methodisthealth.org/Camp Bravehearts. All our information for registration is on our website there. And also, if anyone would like to sponsor our camp, it is free for campers due to generous donations through the Methodist Foundation and the Methodist Golf Classic. So information about how to sponsor campers on the webpage. We're actually going to, Andrew, we're going to extend that registration out to May 31st, just to try to get even more. We're having great response. We want to get even more response to our camp. Just the last thing that I would share for everyone who's listening is grief is a normal and natural reaction to loss. And Methodist Healthcare wants to partner with our community to walk through that with you. So please check out our website. And if you know a child or a teen who's had a loss, please send them our way.
Okay. Well, listen, Mark Smith, we really appreciate you. Camp Bravehearts Program Director. Thank you for all that you do for the community and Camp Bravehearts. Again, that registration deadline has been extended until the very end of May, May 31st. The camp, again, June 21st to 23rd for the Kingdom Retreat Center in Northeast Memphis. Mark, good luck this year. Thanks again for all that you do.
Thank you, Andrew.
Bank with confidence at First South Financial, one of the top 1% of financial institutions in the U.S. for strength and stability. Visit firstsouth.com today.
First South Financial, banking with friends since 1957.
Hey, did you hear the news? If not, catch up now with Action News 5's official YouTube channel. You can like, comment, and share the stories that matter to you. Meet the Action News 5 team and get a blast from the past in the Action News 5 vault. Top stories and special reports you may have missed or just want to watch again are added daily so you can stay in the know with the 901. Visit youtube.com/actionnews5 and never miss out on the exciting things happening around you.
I'm Bobby Jones of Delta Medicare Benefits Group, the Mid-South's #1 trusted source for all things Medicare. At Delta Medicare Benefits Group, you work with local Mid-Southerners. There's no 800 number, no machines to talk to, just local Medicare experts. Together, we'll come up with the best Medicare plan that fits your individual needs. Call today for your free Medicare consultation at 460-7220 or stop by our office at 5050 Poplar Avenue.
Bank with confidence at First South Financial, one of the top 1% of financial institutions in the U.S. for strength and stability. Visit firstsouth.com today.
First South Financial, banking with friends since 1957.
All right, I want to show you this. This is an opportunity for summer reading. Yeah, the classes are out. They're done for the year. And the Memphis Public Library Children's Coordinator Dara Gonzalez is joining us to talk more about this summer reading program that has been set up June 1st through July 31st. She joins us now on the Action News 5 digital desk. Dara, good morning to you. Tell me about the program.
Good morning. Oh, sure. So Explore Memphis is our summer reading program at Memphis Public Libraries, and it is for everyone, children through adults. You can sign up online at our website or come into any of our branches to register. It begins on June the 1st, and anybody that participates, if they read up to 600 minutes through the summer, they're eligible for a grand prize. However, every week, people that participate will be eligible for weekly prizes as well. And they're separated into 3 groups. So children, which goes up to 12, and then we have teens, which is 13 to 19 for us, and then everyone else is adult.
You know, this is perfect timing because of, Dara, because of what we've been talking about in the news the last few days, and that is the literacy rates. And some of the literacy rates, proficiency rates, have been soft and some below what's expected, particularly third graders. So here's an opportunity for everybody, doesn't matter who you are, to really kind of up that summer slide, I guess you could say, or at least prevent the summer slide, right?
Absolutely. And so with our program, you can register online, but there's also a paper option if you don't want to track your reading online. You can do it on paper, and you can be read to. You could be doing the reading. It can be a book. You can be reading the text in the video game that you're playing. It can be the news articles that you read every day in the morning on Facebook. Reading is reading no matter how you do it. And this is a great way to sort of track yourself during the summer. So that way, especially for children and parents of school-age children, to get their kids kind of ready to go for the fall. So that way, that first week, second week of school, they're already ready to go and not having to do any review work.
My kids were always involved in those kinds of activities. They're older teens now. I got one a 20-year-old and one's about to go to college. And they were always involved in these kind of summer reading programs. It's so beneficial to them. And I always tell both my kids, I got a daughter and a son, you know, I'm always better when I'm reading a book. Just always am, no matter what. It's just I just feel better, and you know, my brain, I don't know what it is, brain cognition, vocabulary, it's just easier. It just comes so much easier to me. What else can we talk about when it comes to the kids and summer reading?
Well, so you brought up such a good point because the brain is your strongest muscle, or can be, right, in your body. And reading, and not just, again, reading books, but exposing yourself to literacy in all forms, just looking at words, looking at sounds, helps build your brain muscle, and it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. One thing that we do at the library besides the reading challenge is we will have events all summer long that aren't necessarily coming to the library and reading a book, but will expand and strengthen your brain in other ways. So we have like drum camps at some libraries. We'll have engineering camps. We have a cybersecurity coding camp at our new Cosset branch. So all different ways to kind of engage your brain and make it stronger that all tie back to literacy.
Gotcha. All right, let's throw up the flyer one more time here. All together now. Read, attend, explore, July 1st to the 31st. Explore Memphis. More information, memphislibrary.org/explore Memphis. Dara, anything else before we let you go?
I just would add that you can register right now. If you go to the library, it's already up and ready to go. And so are all of our summer camps. Our summer camps are free, and we provide meals with them as well. And they're all up on the website, ready for people to sign up and fill them up. We can't wait to see you all this summer.
Awesome. All right, Dara Gonzalez, we really appreciate you coming on the Action News 5 digital desk to tell us about the summer reading program that Public Libraries has put together. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great summer.
Thanks, you too.
Get ready to splash into summer at the YMCA. With 2 great options to join the Y, there's something for everyone. Choose a summer splash pass and enjoy the outdoor pools and splash pads now through September. Or take 20% off regular monthly memberships and keep saving for life. And you get all the great benefits of the YMCA with family and individual membership options. Visit the website at ymcamemphis.org for full details and to join today.
Thanks for joining us here on ActionNews5.com, as well as all of our digital platforms here on a Thursday. A mixture of more sunshine than not here today, though a few of the few clouds that we do get today could have a stray downpour associated with them. Highs will top out in the middle 80s. Winds will come out of the north and east at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Oddly enough, we actually have a frontal system that will move through the area. We'll talk about that here shortly. Thursday night, the overnight low temperature down into the lower 60s. Some of the suburbs and the outlying areas outside of Memphis will drop into the 50s to start off on your Friday morning. Small opportunity that we could still see a rogue shower here or there. It's all dry and clear here across the Mid-South. We do have a few clouds that have bubbled up here within the last little bit back over in eastern Arkansas and northwest portions of Tennessee up towards Lake and Obion counties this morning. Those are drifting down towards the south. That's actually the frontal system moving in our direction. Notice the general trend here. There's your front that will be sweeping through Memphis and the Mid-South here in the next couple of hours. That may kick up a rogue shower or two. That will also help to kick up the winds, but that's also helping us out a bit. That will keep us with high pressure in control of the weather pattern that will eventually keep this system from heading in our direction and actually keeping most of that weather at bay from coming all the way in our direction. That is an area of low pressure, non-tropical low that's going to have some big impacts for the Carolinas as well as Georgia and Florida heading through the upcoming weekend. Some spots in the Carolinas, 5+ inches of rainfall from Wilmington up through the Outer Banks. So something to be cognizant of if you have plans for the Memorial Day holiday weekend heading in that direction. Now, we will see a little backwash of that. How does that play out for us? Well, a little disturbance will get spawned off from that area of low pressure by the time we head towards your Saturday. This is Futurecast looking ahead to Saturday afternoon. That may kick up a shower or thunderstorm. Looks like the higher potential of that will tend to be south of I-40. But again, you can't rule it out that we could see a rogue shower or thunderstorm by Saturday afternoon and evening, even here in the Memphis area in Shelby County. But in the general sense, most spots will likely stay dry. The further north that you go up towards Jonesboro, up towards Mark Tree, Blytheville, Osceola. We're talking about weather, probably about 10 to 20% opportunity of a rain, shower, or storm. Most spots, like they say, dry for the upcoming weekend. And any storms that we do get will probably fade away pretty quickly by sunset. The weather's pretty quiet for us going into Sunday as well. Morning 60s will trend back towards the lower 80s with mostly to partly sunny skies for Sunday afternoon. Now, the weather in general beyond this looks to be great for us across the board. If you're heading out to the Bluff City Fair today, gates open 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 85 degrees, dropping back to the lower 70s, and looking great for the Great American River Run. That happens this upcoming weekend. Small chance of a rogue shower, but really and truly put those rain chances near zero heading through Saturday morning. Temperatures at 62 degrees on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. up to near 70 by 9 with a light westerly wind. We'll get a spike in humidity with that disturbance moving through the area on Saturday, then a gradual warming trend and a gradual muggier trend coming back into the area as we head towards next week. That will push our numbers up fairly deep into the upper 80s and near 90 degrees as we approach the end of May, heading to the beginning of June. Yes, a fairly toasty situation as we head towards the end of next week. So get prepared for it. In the meantime, we'll enjoy some low humidity. We'll enjoy a lot of sunshine and just opportunities for a few hit and miss showers and storms from time to time.
Why won't you go?
No one deserves to live like this. When it's time for a plumber, you deserve the best. Best Care Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Okay, parties atop the Peabody Hotel in downtown Memphis have been happening for so long. They're a tradition for so many Mid-Southerners every spring and summer. This year, the Grand Hotel celebrates more than 8 decades of music fun. One of the best views this side of the Mississippi. Kim Clark has this 5-star story.
Rooftop party season has begun again, high atop the Peabody Hotel in the heart of downtown Memphis. These rooftop soirees have a long history.
84 years we have been having parties on the rooftop of the Peabody Hotels.
According to Kelly Brock, the hotel's director of marketing and communications, the hotel's rooftop parties began in 1939 after the east end of the roof was enclosed, becoming the Skyway Ballroom.
And that was when they really started having rooftop parties out on the roof, as well as parties in here in the wintertime and during the rain. And it was the place to be for big bands and for swing dancers. All of the big national acts, the touring acts, performed here for sometimes weeks at a time. You had the Andrews Sisters and Lawrence Welk. You had Ozzie and Harriet, Tommy Dorsey's band, and George Hamilton.
Yes, that George Hamilton, father to actor George Hamilton Jr., who spent a lot of time performing on the hotel's roof.
And George Hamilton Jr. was actually born here in Memphis and spent weeks as a child growing up here at the hotel, watching his father perform here in the Skyway Ballroom and watching the ducks in the lobby.
The hotel's Sunset Serenades, as they were called back then, were also an important part of the entertainment industry as a whole.
And this ballroom and the rooftop were one of the only 3 live recording sites for CBS Radio at the time. So you would hear broadcasts throughout the nation, live from atop the Peabody Hotel.
The Sunset Serenades ended briefly in 1975 when the hotel closed, but started up again in 1981 after the hotel reopened.
And eventually we renamed them as Peabody Rooftop Parties, and they've been going on ever since, and they are as popular as ever.
Though the fashions, music, and diversity of attendees are different now than when it all began, some things remain the same.
We still have live music and a DJ.
Skyway Ballroom also intentionally maintained to appear as it did back in 1939, from the Lawrence Welk-inspired carpet, note the bubbles, to the lighting.
You still have the pink neon lighting that you had. It's very Art Deco style at the time.
As Brock told us, the Peabody Rooftop is still one of the best places in town to sit and have a drink with friends and watch the sunset over the Mississippi River. Or possibly make a love match like so many before.
There's fantastic stories from folks that have came here in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and then there's people still doing the same thing today, coming up here with their friends, and maybe they meet their future husband or their future wife. And it's stories like that that are just, that's the heart of the Peabody.
The Peabody Rooftop Parties still going strong and welcoming all who attend while making lifelong memories and connections. In downtown Memphis, Kim Clark, Action News 5.
Cutting out cable doesn't mean you have to cut out local news. Action News 5 makes it easy to keep up with what's happening in the 901 through Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can watch breaking news and weather from anywhere we go live, like and comment on the stories that matter to you.
I'm going to run
and
an
share
Investigate
your ideas
TV pack
directly
here.
with us. So
Just
tap
waiting
in
for
using your phone, tablet, or computer, making it easy to stay in the know in the 901. We're taking action for you. WMC Action News 5. Find
there
us
she is.
wherever you scroll.
Hi, I'm Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies, and I am officially vaccinated. I cannot wait to get back to spending time with my family and friends. I think people should do their research and make sure they get informed on the
You know what? I'll just come to her.
I definitely did that. I definitely looked up side effects, everything that I could find out, and I felt like it was still.
Can you grab all that stuff off real quick?
As well for anybody really. So I'm encouraging everybody.
Just minimize everything. Okay, Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 digital desk. We are going through an amazing amount of interviews all morning long. We've had more than a dozen or half dozen this morning, and it's been fun. It's been fantastic. It hits on everything that we love about Memphis and the Mid-South. It talks about, we've talked about all kinds of different things. Summer reading. We've talked about places to explore in Arkansas. We've talked about the VA hospital with cutting-edge health care that's going on. Well, now I want to direct your attention to Memphis Magazine and an amazing article about the Dixon. That's one of the bright spots, one of those great gems that we love in the city. The Dixon is just fantastic, and there is some never before seen work in an exhibit there, watercolors, various ceramics. There's a whole article posted on Memphis Magazine right now. It's written by Abigail Marici. She joins us now on the Action News 5 digital desk. Hi. Abigail, nice to see you again. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. So tell me first off, was this your first time to the Dixon? What'd you think?
I mean, I love the Dixon. It's great, and I got to see this exhibit a couple weeks ago for the first time, and it's amazing. The Zawuki watercolors and ceramics. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I love the Dixon. It was one of the first places that my girlfriend, now wife, brought me to when I first came to Memphis a long time ago. She's just like, I love the flowers. I love everything about the Dixon. Yeah. And so people can go now. I think it's still free for people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still free until I think 2024 at the moment. So definitely.
Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So tell me about the article that you wrote and the exhibit that's now on display.
Yeah, so the exhibit that's now on display, like you said, it's by Zawuki, and it has a bunch of like watercolors, I think 80 pieces in total, watercolors and ceramics that had never been seen before to the public. They come from European private collections, so it's really cool that the Dixon's able to be the first. And Zawuki is a French-Chinese artist, and he's not really a super well-known name in the States, but he is like super famous elsewhere, and he was super famous during his time. I think in like 2018, he was the top third seller of his artwork, and then like now he's like top 23, and he's like above recognizable names that you would probably know, like Botticelli, Degas, Georgia O'Keeffe. Like he kind of ranks above those in sales. So his work is still very popular today. And he was born in 1920. He died in the early 2010s. And he did a lot of like abstract work. And the pieces on display are his watercolors, which he like gravitated more towards when he was like later in life. But he did it throughout too. And the watercolors have this like interesting combination or feeling of like blending between his Chinese culture and like more Western cultures or like artwork, because abstract expressionism technically originated in, you know, United States and New York, but there's a lot of like Chinese background that is like a part of that because they were inspired by Chinese calligraphy. And when Zhao Wuqi began to adopt the style, he realized that like the calligraphy that his grandfather had taught him was kind of like in part what he was doing now in the watercolors, because before he was kind of unsure if he wanted to really embrace his Chinese background because he moved to France from China in the 1940s and he was really more about Western culture. And then he realized there's this part of me that I need to express, and he embraced it. And I think towards the end of his life, there's no real boundary between the East and the West. It's kind of, it doesn't exist because these cultures are always influence one another, and people don't really think about that. And so it's really cool to see that at the Dixon, especially because it's the first time that these will be on display in public. Yeah.
So he was born in 1920, and you say he lived to be in the 2010s?
Yes, maybe.
Wow. Okay. So I mean, he lived a long life. Wow. And so when did he write, or when did he paint these?
So he painted a lot of them like later in his life, so like the early 2000s. But there are pieces from like throughout his career, but most of them are from like later, like 2007, 2006. Because I don't think he painted for the last 2 or 3 years of his life, just because he was older. But yeah, so a lot of them from like later in his life.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, and it sounds like, based upon your article, that he's had a lot of influencers. One of which is Picasso, and I'm about to be able to put up a couple of pictures so our audience can see what we're talking about here. But you're doing a great job of describing it. You know, abstract art, that sometimes that people can find that a little bit challenging to interpret. How did you see it from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I was also speaking with Julie Perotti for this article, and I think she put it well, that like you don't have to sit there and analyze it. You can just appreciate it for what it is and just kind of like respond to it emotionally. And that's kind of what Zhao Wuqi was actually striving towards, that people didn't have to, you know, sit there and decipher it. It's an indecipherable language, I think he referred to it at one point. And it's kind of like you're allowed to just sit with your emotions and just let it like see how you feel. And like a lot of the pieces are inspired by nature. And so for me, at least, they're really peaceful and calming, and just to like look at them, and especially like the colorful pieces, it's like I feel like I'm outside in nature, even though I'm in the AC in the Dixon. Although you can go outside and look at the nature there, which is cool to have that balance. Yeah, but they're really cool. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and there's like
so tell us what we're seeing from your perspective.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously he takes a lot of influence from nature. And so you can see that. You can probably say like, oh, this is like a landscape. But you could also just kind of like see it in like the more abstract, pardon my pun, I guess. And
no,
you know, think about like what it means emotionally. Yeah, and so like the blues and the greens are really like peaceful and serene, and you know, you can see also with watercolors, you can see the brush strokes of the artist more, and there's also this like whole idea of the artist letting go control more, because with watercolors is so like fluid and you can't control it too much, and also you can't manipulate it too much after it's on the paper. And so there's also this like immediacy behind the artist and the artwork, and you kind of see more of like an intimate view into like the making of it. And so like even if you're just like following the line work and, you know, watching where the water had pooled on the page, like it's therapeutic in that way, because you can almost like imagine yourself stroking the watercolor over the page. And yeah, it's really pretty to look at also. I mean,
Yeah, I agree. And this is in this month's pages of Memphis Magazine. You can check it out. It's on newsstands now. You can also go to memphismagazine.com. Abigail Merici, we really appreciate you joining us on the digital desk, and we're looking forward to checking out the Dixon once again. Such a gem in Memphis. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Here's a life hack. While you're physically at work, you can be mentally somewhere else entirely. So grab a refreshing summer edition Red Bull slush and imagine you're at the pool, or literally anywhere else but at work. Sonic Red Bull Summer Edition slush. Sonic.
Get ready to splash into summer at the YMCA. With 2 great options to join the Y, there's something for everyone. Choose a summer splash pass and enjoy the outdoor pools and splash pads now through September. Or take 20% off regular monthly memberships and keep saving for life. And you get all the great benefits of the YMCA with family and individual membership options. Visit the website at ymcamemphis.org for full details and to join today.
Imagine a place where a cool summer breeze blows and burgers have that smoky char-grilled flavor. And also the breeze is your car's air conditioner because you're eating at Sonic. New Sonic Griller.
Wolf River Conservancy is planning its annual Discover the Greenway awareness and fundraising campaign. Emphasize the word fun. Joining us now to talk more about it is Susan Graham. She is the Wolf River's new Chief Development Officer. Susan, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you today?
I'm really good, and we've talked a lot about the Wolf River Conservancy, and last year we talked about the Discover the Greenway. It seemed like there was a great turnout. For people that maybe aren't familiar with this, talk a little bit more about it.
Absolutely, would love to. It's a week-long event starting on June 3rd for an opportunity for everyone to come out and discover the Greenway. Everything from paddling events on Saturday and Sunday to goat yoga on Monday. We even include a selfie contest for folks to get out and explore certain spots along the Greenway. And then this year, we're excited to share that we've got on Saturday our 5K plus race taking place on the Greenway, featuring the new bridge that's out there on the path. It's beautiful and exciting to have our runners and our participants join us as a culmination at the end of the week. We'll have a celebration at the end with barbecue and music and all the things you could possibly want at the end of a nice race, and a great week discovering the Greenway.
I think it's the beauty of Memphis, the fact that we live in a city, but we also have these areas like this that we can go and explore and almost kind of feel like we're outside of the city, but still in the city. And I love the ideas because they're family things. Paddling on the Wolf, the sunset yoga. I've had a lot of friends that have enjoyed that. The goat yoga too. It's always something a little different. You can get some really good pictures and all that doing that. So let's talk about the whole purpose of this and why y'all are really putting together this week-long of events just to highlight some of the great things we have here.
Absolutely. So we were founded back in 1985, and our mission is to preserve and protect the Wolf River and the watershed. A lot of people may not know that the Wolf River's efforts that protect the watershed and the aquifer here in Memphis that supplies all of the great water that we enjoy in the city. But the Discover the Greenway project was created kind of out of a COVID piece because it used to be a cycle event. And then when COVID hit, it wasn't going to be a great idea to pull people together in such tight space. So we discovered the Greenway, which was a week-long event that allows folks to kind of get out there and explore this asset that we have in the city that makes you think you might not be in the city the way it looks out there, where you can learn a little bit more about the flora and the conservation that we do, educate a little bit more about what's happening out there, and get on the Greenway and get out and explore the nature that we have here, because you may not believe how beautiful it truly is when you take a step outside the city and onto the path.
And really, it's therapeutic to be able to get out in nature and to kind of escape from the everyday, kind of turn off the phone, get out in nature and enjoy it. And I know that obviously this isn't the first time that y'all have done something like this. Let's talk a little bit about the response and the turnout that you've had at these things.
Absolutely. So great response. We're expecting about 300 participants this year. And then the best part about it, Amanda, is when folks get out there and they're doing their selfies and they're posting on social media, hashtag Discover 2023. It'll be a great experience for everyone, and then expose a little bit more about what we're doing, because I think we're a secret gem that a lot more folks could know about. And so, yep, we're expecting a great crowd every night. The events take place in the evening, the yogas and the nature walks, and then the race kicks off on Saturday at 8 a.m.
And I'm one of those people that I love to get out and kayak. I've kayaked the Wolf River. I love it. Let's talk a little bit about, you've talked about all these different events. Is this something that is free, open to anyone? What do people need to know before they come out? Are they going to have to rent kayaks? Talk a little bit about that side of things.
Right, absolutely. So on our website, wolfriver.org, you can register for the event. There's actually two opportunities to register. You can register for the Discover the Greenway event that takes place on Saturday, June 3rd, all the way through that Friday. And you can also register for the 5K Plus event. If you register for one, you get a free access to the other. You get the t-shirt, a bag of goodies that includes some prizes from our sponsors. We're excited to announce that Jim Kerr Subaru is presenting the Discover the Greenway event this year. So thrilled to have them on board. So you can pick up your goodies and then be registered for the event. And for some of those yoga events and the kayaks, those are all supplied for you. We've got river guides to teach you how to paddle if you've never paddled before. So everything's supplied for you. All you need to do is jump on wolfriver.org and get registered.
And how much is it to get registered?
Right now it's $30. Event day on Saturday, it goes up to $40. So jump in there now.
And the beauty of this is, like you said, the money that's raised during this goes right back into the work that y'all are doing. I don't know if you want to touch a little bit more on that.
Absolutely. Yes. We're so thrilled to have the registrations start lining up now, and for everyone that's participated or even participated in the past, knowing that their gifts and their donations help support our mission, whether it's through our conservation or our education programs or our recreation programs. It all goes towards supporting the Wolf River and conserving the river itself and the watershed that's there. So, it's a great natural resource, and the donations are hard at work preserving that land and continuing to do that for future generations.
Well, Susan, I've enjoyed having you here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Anything we missed? Anything else you want to touch on before we let you go this morning?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and visit that website, wolfriver.org. Register to join us in June. You won't want to miss this. Thanks, Amanda.
All right, Susan Graham, Chief Development Officer for Wolf River Conservancy. Thank you so much. You have a good morning, all right? I'm sure the event's going to be great.
We can't wait. We hope to see you out there.
Hey, I'm Brian Reed with Best Care Plumbing, Heating, and Air. And in the dog days of summer, a dirty air conditioner can leave you in the doghouse. Good news, it's tune-up time at Best Care. For $69, we'll keep you out of trouble. Let us wash away the dirt and grime of winter from your air conditioner as part of our 24-point inspection for only $69. And we'll also include a leak check at no charge. Call us today and ask about our early bird special, and we'll perform your tune-up for only $57. And when it comes to your comfort, you deserve the best.
Best Care.
Thanks for joining us here on ActionNews5.com, as well as all of our digital platforms here on a Thursday. A mixture of more sunshine than not here today, though a few of the few clouds that we do get today could have a stray downpour associated with them. Highs will top out in the middle 80s. Winds will come out of the north and east at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Oddly enough, we actually have a frontal system that will move through the area. We'll talk about that here shortly. Thursday night, the overnight low temperature down into the lower 60s. Some of the suburbs and the outlying areas outside of Memphis will drop into the 50s to start off on your Friday morning. Small opportunity that we could still see a rogue shower here or there. It's all dry and clear here across the Mid-South. We do have a few clouds that have bubbled up here within the last little bit back over in eastern Arkansas and northwest portions of Tennessee up towards Lake and Obion counties this morning. Those are drifting down towards the south. That's actually the frontal system moving in our direction. Notice the general trend here. There's your front that will be sweeping through Memphis and the Mid-South here in the next couple of hours. That may kick up a rogue shower or two. That will also help to kick up the winds, but that's also helping us out a bit. That will keep us with high pressure in control of the weather pattern that will eventually keep this system from heading in our direction and actually keeping most of that weather at bay from coming all the way in our direction. That is an area of low pressure, non-tropical low that's going to have some big impacts for the Carolinas as well as Georgia and Florida heading through the upcoming weekend. Some spots in the Carolinas 5 5+ inches of rainfall from Wilmington up through the Outer Banks. So something to be cognizant of if you have plans for the Memorial Day holiday weekend heading in that direction. Now, we will see a little backwash of that. How does that play out for us? Well, a little disturbance will get spawned off from that area of low pressure by the time we head towards your Saturday. This is Futurecast looking ahead to Saturday afternoon. That may kick up a shower or thunderstorm. Looks like the higher potential of that will tend to be south of I-40. But again, you can't rule it out that we could see a rogue shower or thunderstorm by Saturday afternoon and evening, even here in the Memphis area in Shelby County. But in the general sense, most spots will likely stay dry. The further north that you go, up towards Jonesboro, up towards Mark Tree, Blytheville, Osceola, we're talking about weather, probably about 10 to 20% opportunity of a rain, shower, or storm. Most spots likely to stay dry for the upcoming weekend. And any storms that we do get will probably fade away pretty quickly by sunset. The weather's pretty quiet for us going into Sunday as well. Morning 60s will trend back to the lower 80s with mostly to partly sunny skies for Sunday afternoon. Now, the weather in general beyond this looks to be great for us across the board. If you're heading out to the Bluff City Fair today, gates open 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 85 degrees, dropping back to the lower 70s, and looking great for the Great American River Run. That happens this upcoming weekend. Small chance of a rogue shower, but really and truly put those rain chances near zero heading through Saturday morning. Temperatures at 62 degrees on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. up to near 70 by 9 with a light westerly wind. We'll get a spike in humidity with that disturbance moving through the area on Saturday, then a gradual warming trend and a gradual muggier trend coming back into the area as we head towards next week. That will push our numbers up fairly deep into the upper 80s and near 90 degrees as we approach the end of May, heading to the beginning of June. Yes, a fairly toasty situation as we head towards the end of next week. So get prepared for it. In the meantime, we'll enjoy some low humidity. We'll enjoy a lot of sunshine and just opportunities for a few hit and miss showers and storms from time to time.
All right, we've been talking a lot about Memorial Day weekend, the unofficial start of summer. A lot of people firing up the grill. There's going to be a lot of outdoor activities for sure. Let's bring in right now Dr. Ram Villamuri, and he's going to talk a little bit about what to expect and ways to really just kind of stay safe when it comes to grilling outside and preparing to grill outside with family and friends. Dr. Villamuri, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me today.
I appreciate you being here. I understand that you're part of the burn unit. Tell me what you see each and every day around the year, and then also Memorial Day weekend.
So being part of the Firefighters Regional Burn Center, we are the largest ABA verified burn center in the region, covering almost 300 miles. And our admissions are about 400 per year. We get about 700 to 800 ER visits per year and about 1,000 patients who show up in our wound care center. Just important to remember, this is a very busy time of the year for us because we have the Memorial Day weekend followed by the 4th of July weekend that's coming up. So very, very common to get lots of patients with burn injuries from stuff that you just mentioned.
Okay, let's go through maybe 3 or 4 bullet points that people can do to prevent ending up with you this weekend.
So the first thing I would tell everybody is I call it the 3 Gs, the grilling, the gas, and the grease. So when you're grilling, I would recommend everybody, please do not grill inside your homes. We've seen patients who come in with burns from people who have had explosions of grills inside their homes. Also grill further from your home in a safe shelter, not covered by anything that can be flammable. At the same time, we have to make sure that kids are not around grills. Please, kids do not need to get burned, and they don't understand what is safe and what is not safe. And one important thing about grilling is that you need to make sure that it's not fun to see a patient who's grilled and has alcohol on board.
Very true, very true. Okay, so we know that there's going to be fireworks in some celebrations marking the unofficial start of summer. Of course, remembering as well those who wore the uniform and died for freedoms in this country. What should you do if, for whatever reason, given the rare chance that your clothing catches fire?
Well, that's a very important point. Stop, drop, and roll. Try to extinguish the fire, try to call 911, get the fire trucks on the way. And the most important is seek medical attention in a burn center that is preferably verified by the American Burn Association.
We know that a lot of people like to have fire pits going with s'mores, maybe some hot dogs, something else that's happening. Fire pits are always a lot of fun. They can be dangerous as well. How about some friendly reminders if someone's going to be hanging out at the fire pit this summer?
Again, great point for that, a great question. Try to avoid using accelerants to start a fire, because if you use that, there's more likelihood of it exploding back on you, and that's how you get the flash burns to the face, your beard, your nails kind of singe, you get burns to the eyes, and your clothes catch on fire. And when your clothes catch on fire, usually those present with third-degree burns. So keep those pits cool. Remember, they can stay hot for almost 12 hours. So again, keep your kids away from them. Try to extinguish them with, once you're done. But I reiterate, alcohol is not a good combination with fire pits.
What about when it comes to, let's say, unfortunately, you get burned, okay? At what point do you need to go see a doctor versus handling it with your own first aid kit at home?
This is an excellent question too. So one of the key indications to be seen by a burn surgeon in a verified center is burns that are greater than 10% of your body surface area. Any burns in kids, burns which are third degree, which happen from chemicals, electrical injuries, people who are elderly, who have diabetes, who have cardiac issues. Memphis has got a lot of patients with a high BMI, higher obesity and diabetes in the population. All of them should be encouraged to see a burn surgeon as soon as they can, either in the emergency room or in their clinic, so they can get the appropriate care and also appropriate surgery if required, rather than wait for infection or some kind of contracture that can happen.
Okay, and what about if you do, in fact, don't have that much of a serious burn, but you have a burn and you need to treat it at home?
So that's very important, because there's just three types of burns. First degree burns are like sunburns. In that case, your face is red or your body is red, but the skin's not peeling out. Those can be just treated with any kind of moisturizer. Just keep your skin hydrated. They usually hurt more because the nerves are all preserved, but they respond to Tylenol, Motrin, and just 5 to 6 days they heal. The smaller burns, which have just like blisters on your face or your arms, you can just kind of de-roof those blisters and wash them with soap and water every day, and maybe put a little bit of antibiotic ointment on them. But anything that's extensive, anything that's worse, please seek medical attention, because we have a lot of creams, a lot of special dressings and innovative techniques to get you healed faster and get back out there to doing what you normally did.
Anything else, doctor, before we let you go, that people need to just kind of be aware of? Friendly reminders this summer?
I would just like to reiterate, we want you to have a great Memorial Day weekend. At the same time, 4th of July, fireworks are very dangerous. Keep your kids away from sparklers that can get as hot as 2,000 to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't drink. Like we say, don't drink and drive. Please don't drink and cook, or don't drink and grill, and don't drink and start campfires. Stay safe. It's better to have your skin on yourself, on your body before coming to the hospital, because once you get burned, things can be pretty challenging. But be safe, everybody.
Yes, be safe it is. Dr. Ram Villamuri, we really appreciate you, Regional 1 Health Firefighters Burn Center. Thanks so very much for the friendly reminders. Have a safe and happy summer. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
People need options. You need the option to excel. The chance to get beyond where you are, to refresh your skills and leap into the future. You need the option to be local, the possibility of growth where your roots are, while taking care of you and your loved ones. You need the option of a helping hand, the occasion to talk to someone who can help you take yourself to the next level. Go far, close to home. Northwest Mississippi Community College.
Hi, it's Bob Burger with Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. Thinking about buying a new or used car or truck? Remember, the selection's better and the savings are bigger at Sunrise. Over 600 new cars and trucks to choose from. Factory rebates up to $1,000 and interest rates low as 2.9. Bad credit? It's okay. At Sunrise, we've got a financing plan for everybody. SunriseMemphis.com. We're saving you money. It's just the way you're doing business. Covington, Pike, Wolfchase, and Collierville. We make it fun to buy a car again. Check out the all-new Sunrise Truck Corral. Huge selection of nothing but trucks. All makes, all models, all prices, all trucks, all the time. Thanks to Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas in the Action News 5 digital desk. A beautiful Tuesday morning it is. We've had such great weather this past week, going back to the weekend with Sunday being amazing. And it is always amazing to talk to my friend Talisa Franklin on the Action News 5 digital desk with WAVN The Trend. Talisa Franklin joining us now. How are you, Talisa?
I am always amazing when I get to talk to you and get to talk to my whole Bluff City family. So I get excited on Tuesdays, right? It's a terrific Tuesday.
Love your earrings, by the way. And we know that so many things are happening, not only this weekend, but coming up in June, Juneteenth. And I got to say, thank you so much for letting me be a part of Juneteenth celebrations.
Well, let me tell you, there was, for me, nobody that really fit as well as you do. You are such an amazing person right here in our city. And, you know, Juneteenth, what we have done with Juneteenth, we're celebrating 30 years. And one of the conversations that when I had with our mayors is that making sure people in Memphis, everybody know that Juneteenth is for us. It is Memphis. We're here in the Bluff City, and how can we work together? And I was like, what male voice can we have that can speak to Memphis and loves Memphis, none other than yourself? And so I am just honored that you accepted the call to be the amazing host for our 30th annual Freedom Luncheon for Juneteenth. And then we have this amazing speaker, right? Dr. Ray Winbush, that's coming out of Washington, D.C. We have great entertainment. Oh my God, the lunch. Let me just tell y'all, I had a tasting on yesterday. The chef has a very special Juneteenth luncheon that we're prepared. It's just going to be a great time. And Andrew, I am just encouraging people, especially companies, to get especially your high level leadership to get to this luncheon, right? Because a lot of times we know high level leadership is always bummed down in the office trying to make the wheels turn, right? But in order to make Memphis continue to turn in the rate that we need to go, we need leaders and we need people to all be in the room, and let's have these conversations. Let's hear all these great things that we're doing, and then how they can take the freedom feeling back to their businesses, back to their companies, back to their organizations. And then one thing about that room, I'm telling you, it will be amazing, just not because the ambience and the food, it's because we're going to see Memphis, all races, all walks of life coming together to celebrate Juneteenth. Now that's freedom.
I agree, and I was just I was honored that you asked me, and I'm so excited about it, and I look forward to learning more about what's planned and what's in store for that luncheon on June 15th. Certainly, tell me what's going on. I have a few items that you talked about last week that we could pull up and talk about again this week if you want to just kind of go over some of the different things that you have on your calendar.
Absolutely. So remember, y'all, Juneteenth, 30 years. If you have a business, you have a brand, you have something, you want to be in this commemorative edition publication, right? You still have time. Get that in there. Let your voice be heard. Maybe you may want to say somebody that was passed away that celebrated Juneteenth and you remember coin and remember having fun. Listen, put their picture in there. You may have a business and you want to do a special Juneteenth sale. Put that business there. You may just have a great message that you want to put out to Memphis and say, I want to make sure I put my voice, my face, my this and that in this commemorative edition. Go to memphisjuneteenth.com or scan the scan code that is on your screen and make sure you get yourself in there. And then, I'm always excited about this, that Memphis, Shelby County, we're both celebrating Juneteenth. I am so grateful for Mayor Lee Harris of Shelby County that I absolutely love. I call him my amazing mayor. And my amazing city mayor, Mayor Jim Strickland. Listen, those two mayors understand what we're trying to do with unity, with Juneteenth, making it inclusive and equitable for everyone. And so I'm so grateful that I've been chosen to lead this charge. We've been leading this charge now for Juneteenth in Memphis for 30 years, and we'll continue to lead it. And then, so if anybody's out there and you're doing the Juneteenth in the Bluff City, make sure you reach out to MemphisJuneteenth.com. And maybe you're out there and say, Talisa, can't get to this, but I'm going to get to this one. Listen, if you go to MemphisJuneteenth.com and click on Celebrate Juneteenth in Memphis and find the area that you may be in that's closest to and go there, because I understand sometimes we have transportation barriers that will stop you from getting to these different events. Well, we're celebrating Juneteenth in Memphis all over Memphis, and I'm grateful for the mayors making sure that we are all working together. And I'm just here as a liaison to say, hey, y'all, we're doing this together. So make sure you go to the website, MemphisJuneteenth.com, and you see all things Juneteenth right there. So how you can be a part, get memorabilia, do all that good stuff right there at MemphisJuneteenth.com. Yes. So Andrew, it's going to be great. And then listen, this Thursday, I am so happy because when Memphis get to be honored in Memphis, it just makes my heart feel good. So this Thursday, y'all, the Hard Rock Cafe on the historic Memphis Beale Street unveils memorabilia from Larry Dotson and James Alexander from the Barcades. Yeah, the Barcades are right here from Memphis. After years of work, even through this horrific pandemic, the Hard Rock Cafe of Memphis, located on historic Beale Street, will be celebrating a brand new memorabilia installation from Memphis on, y'all hear that, James Alexander and Larry Dotson from the legendary Barcade on this Thursday, May 25th at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Their garments will be joined like the worlds of Elvis Presley, Justin Timberlake, Isaac Hayes, and B.B. King in one of their iconic restaurant brands in the world that preserves the legacy of international music. Listen, y'all, I'm super excited because this celebration will be hosted by your girl, yours truly, Dr. Talisa Franklin, and it is completely open to the public. I am excited to see everybody to come out and celebrate our Memphis legends, Mr. Dotson and Mr. Alexander and other guests. So you don't know who's going to be there, but I'm telling y'all, it will be power-packed and full of surprises. And this is amazing honor, Andrew, that Hard Rock Cafe Corporation saw fit to honor and make sure memorabilia by our own, the Barcades, that's traveled all around the world, Larry Dotson and James Alexander. Now we can see their uniforms, their clothing, their memorabilia right in our own city, Memphis Beale Street. Listen, it's going to be amazing at the Hard Rock Cafe this Thursday, y'all, at 6 o'clock. I will be there. Come on out and let's have a great time. And I'm telling you, they got some surprise guests that's going to be there, and it's free. Let's come out. Let's have a good time.
Yes, absolutely. And when, Memphis is celebrated on a national stage, in a way, we're all celebrating. All Memphians, Mid-Southerners, we're celebrating that. And so to see Larry Dotson get that is exciting for so many people. Talisa, what do you got going on today?
Well, today, I tell you, we are talking about what's taking place actually next week for the Family Empowerment Fair that is happening at the Ed Rice Community Center on June 1st. That fair is focusing on education, unemployment, and entrepreneurship. So what does that look like? Well, we have people that we're grateful for. Blue Oval City Board is in the house. We're grateful for the U.S. Army. We're grateful for MATA. We're grateful for the NBA, the Grizzlies. There's so many amazing corporations and companies and opportunities that will be there at the Ed Rice Community Center. I made sure that when we're doing things for Juneteenth, we're making sure we are overcoming every barrier that people need. So yes, the family somebody may need a job, but the daughter may need to figure out where they got to go to school. And mom is trying to be an entrepreneur. So we pocketed all these things together for the Family Empowerment Fair. And we're excited about what's about to take place on this Thursday of next week, June 1st, because it is going to be epic. So we'll talk a lot more about it today on WAVN The Trend.
Love it, Talisa Franklin. Appreciate you. Love everything that you're doing. Thanks so very much. Take care.
Thank you so much, brother. Have a blessed day. Love you, Bluff City.
Love you.
Get ready to splash into summer at the YMCA. With 2 great options to join the Y, there's something for everyone. Choose a summer splash pass and enjoy the outdoor pools and splash pads now through September. Or take 20% off regular monthly memberships and keep saving for life. And you get all the great benefits of the YMCA with family and individual membership options. Visit the website at ymcamemphis.org for full details and to join today.
Thanks for joining us here on ActionNews5.com, as well as all of our digital platforms here on a Thursday. A mixture of more sunshine than not here today, though a few of the few clouds that we do get today could have a stray downpour associated with them. Highs will top out in the middle 80s. Winds will come out of the north and east at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Oddly enough, we actually have a frontal system that will move through the area. We'll talk about that here shortly. Thursday night, the overnight low temperature down into the lower 60s. Some of the suburbs and the outlying areas outside of Memphis will drop into the 50s to start off on your Friday morning. Small opportunity that we could still see a rogue shower here or there. It's all dry and clear here across the Mid-South. We do have a few clouds that have bubbled up here within the last little bit back over in eastern Arkansas and northwest portions of Tennessee up towards Lake and Obion counties this morning. Those are drifting down towards the south. That's actually the frontal system moving in our direction. Notice the general trend here. There's your front that will be sweeping through Memphis and the Mid-South here in the next couple of hours. That may kick up a rogue shower or two. That will also help to kick up the winds, but that's also helping us out a bit. That will keep us with high pressure in control of the weather pattern that will eventually keep this system from heading in our direction and actually keeping most of that weather at bay from coming all the way in our direction. That is an area of low pressure, non-tropical low that's going to have some big impacts for the Carolinas as well as Georgia and Florida heading through the upcoming weekend. Some spots in the Carolinas, 5+ inches of rainfall from Wilmington up through the Outer Banks. So something to be cognizant of if you have plans for the Memorial Day holiday weekend heading in that direction. Now, we will see a little backwash of that. How does that play out for us? Well, a little disturbance will get spawned off from that area of low pressure by the time we head towards your Saturday. This is Futurecast looking ahead to Saturday afternoon. That may kick up a shower or thunderstorm. Looks like the higher potential of that will tend to be south of I-40. But again, you can't rule it out that we could see a rogue shower or thunderstorm by Saturday afternoon and evening, even here in the Memphis area in Shelby County. But in the general sense, most spots will likely stay dry. The further north that you go up towards Jonesboro, up towards Mark Tree, Blytheville, Osceola, we're talking about weather probably about 10 to 20% opportunity of a rain, shower, or storm. Most spots likely to stay dry for the upcoming weekend. And any storms that we do get will probably fade away pretty quickly by sunset. The weather's pretty quiet for us going into Sunday as well. Morning 60s will trend back to the lower 80s with mostly to partly sunny skies for Sunday afternoon. Now, the weather in general beyond this looks to be great for us across the board. If you're heading out to the Bluff City Fair today, gates open 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 85 degrees, dropping back to the lower 70s and looking great for the Great American River Run. That happens this upcoming weekend. Small chance of a rogue shower, but really and truly put those rain chances near zero heading through Saturday morning. Temperatures at 62 degrees on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. up to near 70 by 9 with a light westerly wind. We'll get a spike in humidity with that disturbance moving through the area on Saturday, then a gradual warming trend and a gradual muggier trend coming back into the area as we head towards next week. That will push our numbers up fairly deep into the upper 80s and near 90 degrees as we approach the end of May, heading to the beginning of June. Yes, a fairly toasty situation as we head towards the end of next week. So get prepared for it. In the meantime, we'll enjoy some low humidity. We'll enjoy a lot of sunshine and just opportunities for a few hit and miss showers and storms from time to time.
People need options. You need the option to excel. The chance to get beyond where you are, to refresh your skills and leap into the future. You need the option to be local, the possibility of growth where your roots are, while taking care of you and your loved ones. You need the option of a helping hand, the occasion to talk to someone who can help you take yourself to the next level. Go far, close to home. Northwest Mississippi Community College.
Hi, Bob Burger, the Sunrise Buick GMC truck. Thinking about buying a newer used car or truck? Remember, the selection's better and the savings are bigger at Sunrise. Over 600 new cars and trucks to choose from. Factory rebates up to $1,000 and interest rates low as 2.9. Bad credit? It's okay. At Sunrise, we've got a financing plan for everybody. SunriseMemphis.com. We're saving you money. It's just the way you're doing business. Covington, Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville. We make it fun to buy a car again. Check out the all-new Sunrise Truck Corral. Huge selection of nothing but trucks. All makes, all models, all prices, all trucks, all the time. Thanks to
All right, that does it for us here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Have yourself a wonderful Thursday afternoon. We got Action News 5 midday coming up at the top of the hour with Ariana Poindexter. And then make sure you join us bright and early, new start time at the Digital Desk. We get going at 7 o'clock. We'll see you then.